What's up, guys? Wanted to go through this baseball whisperer video. Nothing against this guy. He teaches really what a lot of coaches out there teach. And as you guys know, I don't agree with a lot of what's being taught out there in conventional instruction. So once again, nothing against this guy. Let's hear what he has to say.
The more that our hands separate from our body, less power we create. We want to push something hard, it's from our body out. We want to punch something hard, it's from our body out. It's never from away from our body.
I always think it's funny when these guys start explaining their reasoning for what they teach, because of course a little 10-year-old kid or even older kids are not going to necessarily disagree. So they always get to just say, this is why I believe it, and they kind of explain their reasoning for it. And I never hear any objections, of course. But what I would like to do at that moment is, raise my hand and say, hold on. What did you just say? Because, first of all, the swing is not a push. So, yeah, if we want to push something, sure, we probably want to get behind it and push. But we don't want to push in the swing. The swing is a swing. It's more of a slinging action with the body. But he demonstrated a punch and basically said that the most powerful punch is a straight punch. But what we're learning now is that this haymaker punch or clothesline punch, whatever you want to call it, it's not a pure punch to throw. It's actually a very powerful and consistent punch to throw. And more in MMA, guys are starting to realize this.
If I give you a clothesline, it will loop around. It will still hit the back of your head, the legal part. You just stay outside of the mohawk. Where are they?
I actually wrote a book about this called The Haymaker. There's assumption here that, if we want to punch something, we don't come out like this. If we want to punch it hard, that is not true. Really, the most powerful punches in MMA are typically haymaker punches. And again, the MMA community is starting to realize this and recognize this and moving towards actually teaching it. For many years, they did not teach this punch. They borrowed basically their striking from boxing. And boxing has always, since teaching boxing started, has just assumed that this was a good punch in the street, but it wouldn't work against trained boxers. But that's actually just false. It's not true. It's one of these myths that instruction picks up and the momentum gets going. It's taught to one generation and that generation teaches it to the next, to the next, and to the next. And it really doesn't stop until on a large scale, somehow everyone finds out that, you know what, we've been doing it wrong. And it's hard to get to that point because typically instructors don't want to say, oh, I've been doing something wrong for 20 years. So you see this in baseball too with what they teach and specifically what this guy teaches. I see a lot of similarities between many different instructional methods in sports, across all sports. There are often similarities. This idea that the best mechanics come from more of a straight line approach. I see that in MMA and I see that in baseball. And you see it, like I said, in other sports. It's not that simple. It's not as simple as, hey, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So therefore, if your hands take a straight line, it's going to be better. It's going to be faster. It's just not as simple as people have tried to make it out to be in the instructional worlds out there. So let's continue.
So we don't want to be away from our body.
And you see the position that he just showed. I mean, actually, he showed a position that you tend to see the better hitters in at contact. It's just so weird to me that baseball actually tends to teach exactly what you don't want to teach. Exactly the things that were exacerbated and made worse when we introduced light metal bats and even plastic bats to our kids. These tendencies started to happen in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And now, for whatever reason, instruction has actually taken that swing and started to teach it. And what we need to do is get more back to more of what was happening prior to those things getting introduced to our swing. Another thing, a piece of technology that was introduced that I think has had a lot of damage on swings is the pitching machine. In order to hit off a pitching machine, you can't read anything from it. And it just kind of pops out of the machine. So the best way to hit a pitching machine is to do very much of the swing that has developed now, where you stay on your back foot and you just, from almost a statue still position, you just fire out from there, hanging back on your back leg. I mean, these all go in line with these technologies that have been introduced. The pitching machine, wiffle ball bats, and I even look at instruction as almost like a technology. And, you know, unfortunately, these technologies have, I think, hurt the general swing out there.
So Alex Bregman doing this drill, and I really like it. And all he does is
All right. So he saw Alex Bregman do this drill, and he really likes it. Again, another reason for why he's teaching it, but again, doesn't have any weight behind it. I mean, I've talked quite a bit on this channel about how I don't like what Alex Bregman is working on. I typically don't like anything that I see Major League Baseball players working on, because they're almost all going with these conventional ideas. And Bregman has bought into this deceleration stuff. And frankly, I'm not seeing him get any better in the past few years. I mean, if you're working on the right stuff, you should be getting better. I'm not seeing that. I'm not saying he's gotten a lot worse, although his OPS shows that he has gotten a lot worse. But he's still a high-level Major League Baseball player. But if you're working on the right stuff, I mean, the point of doing work is to improve. I'm not seeing him improve. I talked about Christian Yelich many years ago, how I didn't think he was working on the right stuff. And people, this was his MVP year, and people were just dogging me about it. And now, look at his stats. They've gone way down. I think that these guys actually buy into these conventional approaches, and it eventually seeps into their swing. They actually start accomplishing what they're trying to do in their practice, and it's detrimental to their swing, because it almost always is stuff like what this guy is teaching here, which leads you away from what you actually want to be accomplishing in the swing.
arm out over here. So now this front shoulder is closed off, right, like on our load. And all I did from this loaded position is put my arm out, okay? Now from here, we're going to practice rotating our shoulders without opening up. So when we hit this ball, we have to get our body to go this way to hit that ball. It's not even a hip rotation. You rotate your hips, you're going to have to bring your arm away from your body.
What is it about instruction? They don't want to use their body to hit the ball. They want to take all of your body out of it, but we all know that it's our bodies, our torso, our legs, the trunk of our body that has most of the power. And so these guys are just trying to take it out, and that's what I see in instruction across many sports. I often see that, where they're just trying to, they're almost doing nothing but finding ways to take power out of it. And they think we must be doing it in a prudent, wise way if we're trying to be less powerful. Have you guys noticed that instruction almost always dogs on power? They almost always, from the start, they want to get kids to stop thinking about power. When it really, they should be doing the exact opposite. For one, kids enjoy power, so it's going to make them stick with the sport, which is ultimately what you want. You want to be having fun. But two, the best of anything always had a power game. I don't know. They just want to take the body rotation out of the swing. And look at how hard he's able to hit the ball doing this drill, taking the body out of it.
To hit that ball. So we're here and we're really focusing on one, the position is 90 degrees, you're pulling it into your back. As you start to swing, you're actively pulling this into your back. Okay, so it's not a get here and try and come out. It's going to be way too hard. We're here, we're actively pulling in, and we're focusing on that ball, weight in our back leg, and then we're just going to go into here, and we're going to work on just that motion.
He was only able to tap the ball.
And you see how my front shoulder comes over my top shoulder without letting it open. So
Shouldn't that tell you something, that he's only able to tap the ball doing that? I just want you guys to feel more empowered. Look and observe rather than just, giving all control over to somebody who's the expert. Just look at swings. Determine who has the most effective and beautiful swing out there. That guy is probably using the best mechanics. Try to copy his swing. See what he's doing. Check out his positions. And when your instructor is showing you a drill, like obviously he's not ever going to be able to hit the ball hard swinging in this manner. So he's trying to get you to swing in that manner. Why would you want to have less power? Every kid should really just be starting off. Just try to hit the ball as hard as you can. Because that, and use a heavy enough bat. That way the body is going to have to align itself to really use energy as efficiently as possible. The goal is to hit the ball as hard as possible. The body's going to understand, okay, well then I'm going to do my best to deliver the most possible power. For kids, that works the best. You don't need to get them all these lessons. It's really detrimental to your kids' swings. They intuitively are extremely smart, kids are, when it comes to movement. And when you take them to a guy like this, it confuses the heck out of them. And he happens to be teaching really exactly the opposite of what you want to do. And it affects your kid's swing for life, unless he finds the front arm progression. I mean, the front arm progression is the one thing that will rewire your swing.
Get to a position and we start to hit that ball, but as we're hitting that ball, we're spinning off, we're not right, we're here, good tension.
It's just so funny. I mean, they have completely bought into the spinning off misconception and the pulling out and all these things. Basically, a movement where your shoulders are flying open. If your shoulders are flying open, that means you're using your body rotation to hit the ball. All the best hitters had their shoulders flying open.
In the back, 90 degrees, focus on the ball. We can turn our head, let our head come down to the ball, and this motion right here. All agree,
I just think that there's mainly just a paucity of instructors who really are curious about the swing. Everyone's just kind of assuming that everyone else is on the right page in baseball, in the baseball instruction community. And even guys who think they're, outside the box, they don't even realize they're still within the confines of what's the general paradigm out there in swing instruction. And I think we need a complete overhaul. We have to erase everything. Nobody's on the right page. The only thing I see that's positive is guys are starting to see that this flattening action of the barrel is a trait of the better hitters. But my gosh, that's just the very start. That's just the very beginning.
Elite hitters, the barrel comes back, and it's going to line right up with the shoulders. Boom, boom. It's going to come right off the shoulder.
The bat has got to be able to work this way first. So this is the first move here.
Now there's still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of things that they're going to have to accept out there in swing instruction for us to move forward. It's not enough to just see this flattening action and try to force it. There really is one drill that I advocate, and it's the front arm progression. You guys can get my book, Swing Like Griffey, read all about the front arm progression, how I came to my understanding of the swing, and where I think we're going in swing instruction in the next few years. And what I try to provide for you guys is a way to get ahead of the game. While everyone else is focused on extraneous things that really aren't going to move the needle very much, you can be focusing hard on the things that truly matter. The front arm progression is one of those things. Check out my book, Swing Like Griffey, at theswingmechanic.com. You can also check out the front arm training bat there. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.